we had sort of a setup for Ari and Randy to go back to the church. And I think what I'd like to do is just sort of like in like TV time, right? So like no time actually passes, but it looks like it does. And we see Ari and Randy going back to the church a few times, sort of developing a rapport with the parishioners and the pastor there. And eventually, it's maybe after going back half a dozen times or a dozen times, um, we get to the point where the church has started to really trust these two guys. And I don't know if Tacitus and Al would be going with them, and Al's not here, so I don't know, Tacitus, if you end up going with them some of the time, or you just like
Nope.
chill out and do something else. All right, so we'll figure out what you do in a minute. There's not really any actual physical time that passes, um, so it'll be like maybe you get to do like one thing. Anyway, so I think what happens is this scene kind of opens up on Ari and Randy having been in for another meeting at this church, and the pastor comes up to talk to the both of you. And Ari, you still have sort of scars on your hands from the stigmata, and it's the pastor, and now it's the young woman that you had met originally is actually the pastor's wife. Um, and they come up to talk to you after a service, and the pastor looks pretty nervous. I forget what I named him. I think it was like Ricardo or something. Maybe Raphael. No, it wasn't Raphael.
No, Raphael was the guy we're looking for.
Yeah, so I forget what I named the pastor, but we can name him, I don't know, Pablo or something.
Pastor Bog.
Yeah. He's probably pastor. He's like Pastor Paul. We'll go with Paul.
Hang on a second, my phone's
Yeah,
ringing.
get a good Christian name, Paul. So, yeah, he comes up to you after and he says, so Ari, Randy, you've been coming here for a while now. What do you think?
Well, pretty welcoming. Not like most people in this planet so far.
Yes, it's a shame that so many people revert to baser instincts in the face of tragedy.
Sorry, I think my mic for a coughing fit there.
All right. And he just sort of like, he sees you coughing and he just, oh, it's all right, it's all right. And he like taps your back and just,
Yeah, I immediately flinch when he taps my back, but
yeah, then you flinch. And he probably like taps you once and then stops. He said, I'm sorry. Try to help.
no, it's fine. It's fine. So, I know that you guys have the banding together thing. Is it just you? Do you work with other churches around? I mean, is this part of a bigger program, or are you just kind of here on your own?
He nods, and he says, there are many houses devoted to the way of the angels. We are just one of the smaller ones. And he kind of like looks down for a second, and he looks over at you and he goes, but I think you know more than you let on. I have seen your hands.
Yeah, I cut myself. It's no biggie.
Because that is no cut. The cut would be straight. The cut would not be. It would not be that. It is a holy symbol. And he looks over at you, Randy, and he goes, I know that you know that.
Oh, what is it? Out of character, I had to step away for a minute and answer a phone call.
Oh, he's referencing Ari's stigmata, which is something you would definitely know.
Well, that's a stigmata, ain't it?
He goes, yes, Randy, it is a stigmata. It's a holy symbol. I think that your friend is asking questions to which he already knows the answer. I think it is important that you see what he's like stumbling around his words a little bit, and he kind of like comes back and forth, and he goes, he basically makes an offer to you. He's like, there's a group of people that are like leadership in the church, and he wants to like present you to them to see
Yeah,
if they have an idea about what it is that's happening to you, because he thinks that you don't understand it.
he's bumping me up to level 2 church support is really what it leads to.
Maybe that's his goal.
Senior
I mean,
support level.
it might also be that he's not sure if you're totally aware of what stigmata means, and frankly, you really can't be aware of what it means to him. It might mean very little. It might mean that he thinks you're a ticket for him to move up. Um,
Yeah,
and importantly, you're not getting any empathic response right now. It's all static.
Still with a static. Lovely. No, but the way I'm kind of playing it is someplace between oh it's no big deal and reluctance because the thought that I'm trying to give off basically like I'm not sure if you are trying to use me as a bargaining chip to get to the next level in your Scientology.
Yeah, so I think I don't really know how he would go about.
Just so that you
Yeah,
know where the reluctance kind of is being
yeah.
played at.
So, and I think he kind of like realizes that, because it's not like he doesn't think of it in those terms, but he like understands what you're getting at, right? Like um he knows that there's going to be reluctance, because he's basically asking to be like, way more into this religion after 6 weeks than he would ever ask anybody to be. And what should be coming in here momentarily. So I don't know exactly how he would phrase it, and I have a bit of a sore throat, so doing his accent's hard. I think he would basically like he would make an offer to you and sort of try to explain what stigmata means in his religion. So in the Iglesia de Angeles, stigmata is not like, we don't think, stigmata is supposed to be like, the hands of Jesus, right? It's a mark of extreme holiness. In his church, it's less of that, and it's more of an omen. It's sort of, and it's not necessarily good or bad. It just is, and he's trying to like understand it, and he's been trying to do that for a while. And he goes into this like detailed, like, I've been looking through the scriptures and trying to find what it might mean.
Okay, I think kind of during that conversation, I'm probably fading a little bit, like micro steps back and back to sort of be interposed, not like interposing Randy between myself and him, but just making sure that it's not him and me, and then Randy off to Randy's area, but more
like using Randy is sort of like you're ready to use it.
You cut out there, but
so you're ready to use Randy as a shield if you have prepared, like you've prepared for that. Not in so many words, but like
not as a physical shield so much as it's just like, look, I don't want this guy to be able to focus only on me. I want him to be conscious of the fact that big old boy Randy is here with me. He does,
And I think he probably, like, he sees, like, he's a pretty perceptive guy, and so is his wife, more so. And his wife kind of notices and addresses, sort of like redirects him to talk to Randy about details of religion, and trying to explain to him, like, what it means in his particular viewpoint and his theology, what is the significance of you having the stigmata.
Yeah, that's. I want to make sure that it doesn't just become him and me. I want Randy involved and present in this, because he's my.
So I think Randy, he starts like quoting various scriptures at you about the signs of the times, and it's a lot of stuff from like Revelation, like the really sort of apocalyptic books. There's a lot of apocrypha as well, that he quotes that you may have like interacted with at some point, but you didn't really study perhaps. And he's trying to sort of like detail what he thinks we should do. And he explains that he's noticed this from the first time he met you. He saw that you had the stigmata when you came to say hi to him after the service, and he's very, he looks concerned, but at the same time he looks very curious, and he's making a decent religious argument, Randy. I don't know if you want to like probe deeper into that part of it, but his basic premise is he wants you guys, both of you, to come with him to this thing he calls the Angelic Council, which is a meeting of pastors and deacons and other officials in the church. It's sort of a big meeting that they have once every couple months, and it's coming up soon, and he wants you to come with him so he could say, here's this thing that I found, help me interpret it. You'll have to answer some questions about when it came and what was happening when you noticed it the first time, and so on.
Yeah, I need to lie my ass off.
Yeah.
I end up asking questions about this angelic council along the lines of, this angelic council, it's not something I've even heard of the scriptures, and I know we don't like giving names in scriptures. What's this angelic council do? What kind of purpose does it have?
He sort of goes, oh, it's just the ruling body of the church. It's just like, Christ and his disciples, and the head of our church has the angelic council.
All right.
And that was a very weird change of ask.
I'm trying.
I don't know where you ended up there, man.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm also partially distracted. I may have to cut out for a few minutes again in a minute. They didn't fully fix my loans.
Bastard.
Yep.
Yeah, so I guess he just sort of like, he's just sort of making the argument that they're just like, it's just the structure of the church, right? Like, they have a head of the church, like the whole church, it's an organized religion. It's vaguely like Catholicism, and like the deacons would be sort of like bishops. He's not a deacon, he's just a pastor. He runs a single church. There's someone above him that runs his like parish, and then there's someone above him that runs the diocese, and there's someone above him that runs the church. And so there's like a hierarchy, and this is just like a meeting of some subset of that hierarchy to go over how they should run the diocese or something.
So look, I'm gonna say, I'm not a joiner. I'm not signing anything.
He goes, you wouldn't have to sign anything. It's important to us to know what it means, but if it is not important to you to be part of our religion, I'll be disappointed, but I won't be offended.
You're nice people, but you're not taking my blood.
No, there will be no blood. We're not doctors.
Well, let me tell you, brother. I think this is something we need to talk to the Lord about before we make any kind of decision. Get his input. So if you don't mind, we would like to consult with the Lord and come back to you with a decision.
And I think he goes,
I visibly roll my eyes to the pastor at this point.
Yeah, he notices, and he kind of looks over at Brandon, and he's like, okay, you guys clearly are not totally on the same page religion-wise.
I know, but Randy's playing his part perfectly.
Yeah. And so he goes, well, the meeting is the day after tomorrow. So the next one would be in 4 months. So ideally, let us hope the Lord speaks quickly and in short sentences.
Yes, sir, brother. Let's hope so. We'll hopefully have an answer for you by tomorrow. How's that sound?
That sounds perfect. Bless you, brothers. And he like reaches out to shake your hand, Ari.
My hands are staying in my pockets.
And he goes, and he just sort of like turns his hand down and goes, and he makes a little sign. He says, "Bless you," and he goes and does the same thing to Randy, and then tries to shake his hand.
I
Randy,
accept it and shake his hand.
um, and he walks away, and you notice Ari as he's walking away, his wife, uh, at the beginning she looked, pretty like at the beginning of the service, right? She looked normal, like well slept and not tired at all. And now she's got visible bags under her eyes. She looks exhausted, like she's been running all day or like working really hard. There might be like,
Gotcha.
yeah, um, that's what we call a pretty hard telegraph.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you guys head out and
I think at this point, having seen this from a couple of different people, I'm starting to put two and two together.
mhm.
Like
So
I'm not 100% sure, but I think
yeah,
that's yeah.
so yeah, I think the next thing that happens is you guys start heading back to the ship. Sergey meets you along the way. He had been sort of like watching around, making sure that there wasn't any bad shit that was going to happen, but he didn't come into the church with you because he would be noticed. Um, and I think the last thing we see before we kind of fade over and cut to the next scene is we see you and Sergey like asks you what happened, and you guys start to regale the tale of what just happened. And then we cut over to Tacitus, who's sitting in front of um, a terminal and reading through mail. And there are two mails of importance, Tacitus. There's one from Peanuts and one from another person whose name I have to generate. And we'll go with this one. There's one from a Ellen Smith, and it just says, uh, I think it's re or like re colon your lawsuit, Mr. Tacitus. Are you there? Are you there, Tacitus? If you are speaking,
He
I cannot hear you.
he just typed. He said he thought he was. I think he may be having mic problems again.
Did you set up a push to talk? Huh? Are you sure?
Well, he's reloading. While he's doing that, I just during during Sergey's kind of uh probing of us or whatever
Uh huh.
Can you hear me
conversation.
now?
Yes,
Yes,
I
we
can
can.
hear you now.
That's
I want to drop several kind of work into the conversation that maybe stuff like, well, they want us to they wanted to take us to whatever leaders or whatever, but
Mm-hmm.
I think we're just looking at the rim of their organization. We can't, we're not looking at the down into the center of it yet. Basically,
Mm-hmm.
I want to work in some of the circumference people's
You, yeah, yeah,
terminology and just see what Sergey's
yeah,
reaction is.
yeah. So like, we're on the outer perimeter. We're on the edge of the circle and not at the center yet. That kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah. I just on
Um,
more than one occasion, I want to use
I
that kind of
wish there
terminology.
was. I wish there was a skill I could. I'm gonna think about that for a second. We're gonna
No, that's fine.
go.
I want to see the Tacitus anyway.
To Tacitus, you have two emails. One from Peanuts, which is just at this point profanity, in the subject line, and one from an Ellen Smith, which is just says re your lawsuit.
I will open the lawsuit one.
Okay. It's a very nice formal letter from a woman. It's actually sent by her lawyer, and it's detailing. She's a ship captain, and she's someone that basically experienced the same problem as you. She's on ASA, and in the system there's only one planet there, basically. One planet of note. And she wants to talk to you about joining your lawsuit. Um, she's a captain of a freighter, which is a much bigger ship than yours. And she was hauling goods from Shroti, which is HO701, up to ASA, and passed through Metachain space on a navigation error, and got fined quite a lot of money. She ends with, "I'm part of a guild of freighters. This is not the first time it's happened, but it is the first time anybody's thought to sue the government over it." So she's very interested in joining your cause.
Does the email indicate if she wants to meet in person?
Yes, she wants you to come to ASA. She's on ASA, and that's where you need to go to talk to her.
Is there like a timeline for that?
As soon as possible. She's leaving. I'm gonna say she's leaving in like roll 1d7. She's leaving in 6 days. But if you say you're on the way, she'll stay where she is, or like meet you in space along the way or something. You would have to reply right now though to get that there in time.
So I mean, it is possible she's passing by Gonzalez.
She probably wouldn't pass through that corridor again, just because it's also right now it's like really poorly. Yeah, hang on, Butch. I need to. Settings. Damn heroes done. Hey, can you hear me now, Butch?
I can. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Sweet.
You can set a push to talk in the bottom left. There's a little gear icon. Set it there.
Already done.
Cool. Yeah, so I'll give you a quick recap. Ari and Randy were at some church services. We did sort of like a TV time montage of them at a few. And the pastor there wants them to join him at a meeting of church leaders the day after tomorrow. And Tacitus just got an email. He actually got 2 emails. One which he looked at, which is from a lady named Ellen Smith, sent by her lawyer. She's part of a guild of freighters. It's probably more of a union than a guild, but I'm sure the distinction is not that important. And she's a freighter pilot, and she's basically trying to join the lawsuit that Tacitus is running, and she wants to meet on or near ASA within the next 6 days. Like you need to get over there right away, basically.
Are Randy and company back yet?
I think they're probably just walking in as you finish reading this email. Do you read the other email? It'll be like when you're done
No.
reading stuff. Okay, so you just ignore it?
Yep.
Okay. So yeah, I think they're probably just starting to walk in. Ari, you wanted to make some like hints, right? You wanted to drop some hints.
Yeah, I want to see how they react to some of their terminology and organization used.
I'm thinking that you need to make like a stealth check with your charisma.
Okay.
Because you're like you're saying some stuff, and it's how clever you are at saying some stuff and hiding terms.
No,
And
that makes
you
sense.
don't. So here's the weird thing. You don't want to succeed the crap out of this because they just won't get it, right? They won't. You'll be so good at hiding the language that they won't get it. But you also don't want to fail.
I'm looking for 3s and 4s, not 6s.
Yes. So you want to. I'm going to tell you the DC ahead of time. I think the DC is 8. But if you get like more than 2 points over or more than 2 points under, that's gonna alter the result. 2 points under is you didn't hide the language at all. You basically said, it's like, yeah, we're on the circumference of this thing, but not in the area yet. I'm pretty sure someone like Euclid or Archimedes would be really interested in how circular this circle is, right? Versus
Yeah, that
the other
that
one,
would
which
be
is
the
like
mouth
you're like,
taking over where the brain completely fails and
yeah.
vapor locks.
So you want to get anywhere between like a 7 and a 9, and anything too much more than that, problems. Anything less than that, problems of the opposite kind. So nice, nice. Yeah. So I think that I need to check my notes. That's what I think. Look over here. That's the wrong thing I want. Nope. Again with the wrong thing. Here we go. Let's see. Who do they work with? I think that Sergey and his lackey Lisa. I think Sergey doesn't pick up on what you're talking about, but Lisa does. And so Lisa's like this. She's like 15 at most. She's a very small girl. Um, it's small in like size as well as like age, right?
Uh-huh.
And I think she kind of picks up on it, and I need you to make some sort of like perception check, basically, because she's gonna talk back in code. So make a perception intelligence check.
Not a perception wisdom.
Yeah, perception wisdom actually. Yeah,
Okay.
I'll go with that. Yeah, so she talks back and she mentions, and I'm not sure how she puts it because I'm not that clever, but it's a very subtle sort of reference to a story about a Greek man. And she uses some Greek phrases as she does this, and explains what they are. She's just like, here's this phrase in Greek, and she says the phrase, and then she like spokenly in spoken parentheses, she explains what that is. So it'll be like, oh, this is the vinculum, and that's Latin, but this is the vinculum, and the thing that means this, right? Or whatever. So yeah, she'd be like, oh, this is the this thing, the sandal, and then she keeps talking, and and this is this thing, the bow, and then she keeps talking, and she tells this little story sort of back to you about that's supposed to be like relevant to what you're talking about, but it's clearly like not on topic. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's sort of like this out of place thing, and then she looks at you very intently, and your brain starts to fill up with static. It's like fuzzy inside. It feels like the like cotton balls. And I think you guys you're having this conversation as you walk in, and Al, you're sort of right where they walk in, and you probably feel this fuzziness too in your brain, and it's probably a new experience for you. It's like I said, it's like cotton balls in your brain, or like a really bad hangover almost. It's not. You don't feel sick. You just feel like crap, and you feel like you can't think straight. And they're kind of walking into the cargo area where you are for whatever reason.
Would Al actually recognize any of that coming from university training?
Yeah. Actually, how much university training did you have there, Al?
So I thought he was like actually properly trained.
Yeah, you are.
I went to the
academy.
academy, but I
Academy.
would feel like I would pay somebody to do all my homework, and I would have been a shitty student.
Well, so yeah, I mean,
Perfect.
so the way that you train a psychic though is like the psychic does a thing. So I'm not sure how you would pay someone to do your homework. And you know
He's
what I
just
mean?
that good.
You just hired a lookalike to come in and do your psychic homework.
He hired a
Live
lookalike
Live
with
this thing with your
MES.
mind. Yeah. lift this thing with your mind 300 times, and then flip it over once, and it's like some guy. He's got a bad wig on, and you probably like flash over to this, right? It's like some guy with a bad wig on, and he's like, yeah, totally. I'll lift that 70 times. All right, yeah. And it's like, yeah, what's your name? Alistair. Alistair. Yeah, just put Al. Just put Al. It's totally Al. And that's how you probably everybody started calling you Al, was just because the people that
'Cause
you
this
hired were
guy.
so dumb. Yeah. Yeah. So maybe you don't recognize it. Maybe it's sort of oblique, and you kind of like half remember learning about this while you were sitting in lecture and macking on some sweet honey. Um, but yeah, it doesn't feel very pleasant, and you probably have experienced it before, but you probably can't place whether it was due to getting drunk in college or from actual study of psychic phenomena. Um, in any case, you don't feel very good right now, and everybody kind of walks in and they're all talking. Tacitus, you said you didn't read the other email, right?
That's correct.
Yeah, so what do you want to do as these people are walking in? Where do you want to be?
The ready room.
Okay, so I think you hear a knock at the ready room door.
I press the little button that opens the ready room door.
On the other side of the door, you see a familiar face. He's holding a gun and pointing it at you. It's Peanuts.
Nice.
And he says, "Why the fuck haven't you answered my goddamn bitch?"
I don't read too good.
I think he probably just like shoots the gun. Shitty answer. You never called me. And like there's a laser burn in one of the walls.
I mean, we already have a few holes in this ship. Could you maybe not?
He shoots it again. He just shoots in the other corner of the room. It's like, listen, when I send you a message, you open it, you read it, you respond. That's how it works. That's our relationship. You don't want to jeopardize our relationship, do you? Shoots the gun again.
You just hear Randy shout from across the hall below a ways. What are you, now his mother?
Where did that come from?
Somebody's been watching.
Wrong accent. Wrong accent.
Yeah. Are you his mama? And yeah, I think he turns around and he goes, "Randy, shut the fuck up. I'm having a conversation with the captain." And he leans back over and he goes, "Listen, I don't email you just for shits and fucking giggles.
Would he even know who Randy is, though?
I don't think he does.
He knows who Randy is. He's never met you, but he knows who you are. It's his if you asked him how he knew, he would just say it's his business to know. He's quite well informed. And he goes, "Listen, when I email you, it's because I need to talk to you. It's because it's important. And if you don't email me back, then I can't talk to you about the important things. So email me back. Do it right now." And he points at the computer screen.
I open up an email.
Yeah. So in his email, it says, "I'm coming to your ship. I'm going to shoot some holes in it, and you're not going to like it very much, but there it is." And so it's just like he's explaining what he just did in the email, because he knew you weren't going to read it. And he says, "Now, where the fuck is the rest of your crew? The new guys too."
Wait, hold on a sec. And I hit reply on the email and I start typing.
What do you type?
Looking forward to seeing you.
I think he actually probably sits back and smiles. So I did ask for that. So okay. So at around this time, I think everybody else is they've heard the commotion and they're coming into the ready room. Randy and Ari, you see this guy you've never seen before. He's sort of tall-ish, thin, but strong. He's got a laser pistol in his hand. It looks very nice. Sort of well-kept, well-engineered. He's wearing
Go straight to the kitchen to make a cup of tea because I've been dealing with religious fanatics all day.
Yeah.
And I feel like crap.
He's wearing slacks and a white Oxford shirt with the sleeves rolled up. And he's got sort of like slicked back hair that's off to a little bit of one side. And he looks kind of like greasy and Italian. And he turns around and he goes, Randy, Ari, nice to meet you. I'm Peanuts. And he goes, Al, good to see you. Sorry about the mole holes in the ready room, although I'm sure you don't care. Your boss wasn't emailing me, and I hate it when people don't respond to me. Now he has, I'm much happier. And he sees you putting on like a kettle for tea or something. I'm sure there's a little kitchenette in the ready room because you want to have that available. So there's like a little hot plate or something. And he goes,
Yeah, there's gotta
tea.
be some.
That's good. You got any like instant coffee or some shit? And he like goes over to next to you, Ari, and he goes, you can see it in here. And he's like flipping through the cupboards with you as you're trying to find your tea.
Are there tea cookies over there too, Ari? Can you look?
I turn around, just hold up one finger at Tacitus, and then turn back around.
Which finger?
Just the index finger.
Okay.
It's not the finger.
Okay.
I'll
Turn
wait.
around, find my tea, and that's all I'm doing.
And while that's
kind of
going
tea is
on, oh, sorry, go ahead.
What kind of tea is it?
Is there any space lapsang?
Sure.
That's what he's
Okay.
that's what he drinks.
I think that he looks at you and he goes, I can never really get into that Asian stuff. And he like finds a pack of Earl Grey and grabs like 3 bags and drops it into a normal tea thing. It makes it basically really strong Earl Grey and walks back with it and goes, this will have to do. And he sits down. He plops
I
down.
nod approvingly at his choice.
Yeah. He plops down in like the not the, if you Tacit, if you sit at like the head of the table or like a privileged position, he sits at the polar opposite position. So I remember you said it was a round table, so maybe he just sits across from you like directly. And he sits down and Randy, you wanted to do something.
I want to ask Peanuts, if your name is Peanuts, do you have any nuts on your person?
I think he probably like reaches into his shirt pocket and pulls out a little bag of like airline peanuts and tosses them at you.
Hot dog! I take them and sit down and eat the peanuts.
And Bandit probably comes in and sits next to Peanuts and like looks up at him and he scratches him behind. He goes, "So, you want to know why I was emailing you?"
I want to know where my
Look at that,
cookies
you
are, but we're not going to get that answer, so I guess
I
that's
don't
the
know where your
next
fucking
best one.
cookies are. I know a lot of things. I don't know where your fucking cookies are. And he reaches into his pocket again and he takes out a small black card and slides it in the middle of the table, and it pops up, and there's a big circle that just like holographically projects out of it, starts spinning around, and then it snaps sort of perpendicular to the table, and you see Archimedes' face, and he goes, Siriano, and it's like a message to him. And he goes, Siriano, I need you to catch up with the crew and give them a hand in their current task. And he goes, you know how often I get messages from that asshole?
As often as I get messages from you?
No. No, I never get messages from that asshole. I hate getting messages from that asshole. What the fuck did you do?
How do you know you hate getting messages from that person if you've never gotten a message from that person?
I get. Are you stupid or are you just born that way? Shut up. And he looks over at Tacit and he goes, he just like, I don't know what you're into, but I started working with you people because you made money, because you got shit done most of the time. Sometimes you blew everybody up. There was that time at the bank and the time with the anyway, you get shit done. And I don't want to fucking do you know who this guy is?
Not particularly.
George Clooney?
Who the fuck is George? Shut up. Why are you still go? And he tosses you more bags of peanuts, like 3 or 4 more. He looks over at the remaining people in the room, and he sees Al and he sees Sergey and Lisa, and he looks at them and he goes, "Is that? Never mind. I don't know what this guy wants. He told me I'm supposed to help you with your current task. So why don't you go ahead and tell me what that is?" Mr. Captain.
How do I know you're for real?
He just blinks at you. He's like, I don't have time for this. Like, just just tell me what you're doing so I can get the fuck out of here and get this guy off my back.
We've been going to church.
Oh Christ, you.
Don't take the Lord's name in vain.
No, I was literally saying like, oh, anyway, fuck you. He goes,
Language.
he just like, he's just totally like, not even capable of rational thought about you right now, Randy. Like he's just like livid at you. And
I have no idea how to deal with this individual.
Yeah, he's just like, I don't even know where to begin. And he goes, all right, so you've been going to church. What church? Tell me it's not those angel fuckers.
What did I just say about language?
Shut the fuck up, Randy.
I mean, that's
And
not their
so-
exact name.
I don't think they
Whatever.
fuck the angels. I think they talk to them.
So what you're telling me though is that it's the angel fuckers.
Language. And I pull out my shotgun and point it at Peanuts.
It's totally
Um,
the angel fuckers.
Randy, goddammit, if you shoot that in here before I've had an aspirin, so help me.
Well, they can go
I think
get an
he doesn't
aspirin.
he doesn't even pay attention to the fact that you pulled out the gun. He's just like continuing to say whatever the fuck he wants. And yeah, he's just like, all right, so you're in with the fucking angel called, and what? I don't. What do you
Use
need?
your words.
What? I'm thinking about. Shut up. I'm thinking. What are you trying to do? Like, what are they trying to get you to do?
The circumference people.
No, the religious people you're fucking dealing with.
That's it.
I'm gonna
Not
have-
enough language, and I walk out.
Okay. He goes,
Bring me an
good,
aspirin."
now maybe we can get past something. And he's like, yeah, so what are they trying to get you to do? And he like looks around the room, like curious, he's asking the question.
I think one of them likes Randy.
How could anyone like that?
Guy makes friends, like I say.
They're church fuckers, man.
I guess. Well, what do you need? Like, what? I don't know how I'm supposed to help you. I'm a hitman for the mob. I'm not like a fucking priest.
Could you find my tea cookies, or is that like not an option at this point?
That's not an option at this point, you. Deep breaths. Deep breaths.
Don't we have the name of the guy we're
We're out
supposed to
past
get?
it. This Randy was supposed to get him last time we went shopping.
Okay, that's a demerit, but let's move forward. So, what can you do for us? I would say I need to make an errand on Asa. So, either I have to get to Asa via this ship or some other method. That would be helpful.
Right, so you need to get off of the planet where the circumference guy told you to go, do the thing. I'm not gonna help you do something that's gonna make that guy mad.
Okay, so you can't get me cookies and you can't help me off the planet.
Nope. He goes, but I can help you do whatever the fuck you're supposed to do on this planet. Pretty much fast. I brought guns. I got those. I can help you with those.
Guns can be helpful. We don't really have anything to shoot, but that might change.
Can he
Well-
help us find the guy we're supposed to shoot?
Well, he looks over at you, Al, and he goes, what guy are you supposed
Don't we have that guy's name? The one, the fucking leader of the angel fuckers?
Yes, we
Um,
do, and I've been deliberately
have
avoiding
you
using
have
it. Well, we have a name.
a name, yeah.
I've been deliberately avoiding using it because the next thing I was going to do was see if I could. I want to pull Tacitus out of the room and away from all of these people.
Okay.
And I know
How
Peanuts
do
is
you
going to be
do that?
pissed. I just put up my hand, say Tacitus, a minute, and walk out.
And I think Peanuts like I don't think he moves. I think he just sits down. I think he's not super happy about having to be here. Like he has better things to do with his life right now.
I feel like we would have beer in the ready room. I would offer him one and drink one with
Um,
him.
and I think yeah, he takes the cup of tea and he looks at it, takes a quick swig and then tosses it to the side and takes the beer out and like puts his teacup down and just like knocks back the beer. And the camera sort of like follows that action and then jump cuts to Tacitus uh, and Ari out in sort of like the hall.
As I walk out of the ready room, I look disapprovingly at Price.
Okay. Disapproval noted.
So once we get away from the rest of the prying years, I say, you know he's asking about Raphael, or something like it. I don't know if we can trust these guys.
I'm glad you remembered his name because I didn't.
I know.
Well, but he's got the card like I do.
Yeah, but I just don't know if we can trust them. I think they're full of shit, and I think they're pulling on strings.
And what do you think their end game is?
If we knew their end game, I might be inclined to trust them. So far, all they do, show up, fuck shit up, get us to do stuff.
I mean,
And
isn't that what we
that's
do?
it.
As long as there's money at the end.
Yeah, there's also knowing stuff. And right now, they're holding all the cards, and they're playing them all way too close. I don't like it. That's just my opinion. But if you want to tell them, they're asking about Raphael.
It's a solid opinion. I'm pretty neutral on the whole deal.
So it occurs to me, I forgot, you made that roll to perceive what she was saying, and I forgot to tell you exactly what you picked up. The things that you picked up out of that conversation was she referenced a bunch of Greek stuff, and in particular, she referenced two things which you noted to be like code words, and it was the sandal and the bow.
We've heard those before, haven't we? Crap. That was the dude in the room on the last planet, the room that sank down, used those, didn't he?
I don't
What
know.
was in that tea you were drinking?
So I'm not going to tell you up or down whether you are correct on that. That is for you to remember and me to know.
Ah, craptastic.
Is the ready room? How far
You
away
do
are
this
we
when
from
it's
the
been
ready
too
room?
long since we played.
This is why you should take notes.
How far away are we from the ready room?
You're probably just outside of it. Like you're far enough away that people can't hear. Maybe 30 feet outside, in like the bridge on the corner or something.
How much beverage does it appear Peanuts is imbibing?
There, if you like, pull up on a panel like the camera in the security room or in the ready room. It looks like he's got like maybe 2 beers in front of him, like one empty and one that he's working on. It's only been 2 or 3 minutes, so he's not getting ripped.
One
Right.
beer in under 3 minutes?
I mean, he's Italian, whatever.
Racist.
only towards Italians.
So, yeah, I'm not sure whether to trust him or not. He has been reasonably straight with us for a criminal. He also has a quantity of firearms that would be useful.
Your call. You're the captain. Just wanted you to know. I don't like him.
He's a little weird.
Not just him. All of them.
Do you get any reads off him?
Well, like all of them, like everybody in that room. Is that what you're saying?
Off of Peanuts.
No. I mean, like, because you just said not just him, all of.
Yeah,
I'm guessing,
basically, I'm referencing the organization as a whole at the moment.
Oh, okay. Peanuts is organization, not the crew.
Not the crew. Yes. No, I like the crew fine. Most of the time.
Uh-huh.
Huh?
All
I
right,
don't
yeah.
know.
So
He's a cocky bastard.
Tacitus, you were asking if you got like any reads off him. You don't know that Ari's a psychic. He's never told you that, so.
Okay, let me totally forget that I asked that.
Okay.
I mean, you
Yes.
you could ask me what my impression of him is, or
Yeah,
anything
I
like
mean,
that.
if I were not a psychic, or if someone asked me that, I would really notice anything about him that's weird. He's got a bad feeling. That's like, it's totally normal to ask. You got to read off of that guy. That's fine. I'm just making sure that you're aware that you don't know he's a psychic. So if that was your intent.
Good point of order.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. He's a cocky bastard, and he seems to know you.
I mean, at this point, who doesn't? And I flash him a smile.
Pointedly, your fuzziness has gone away at this point, Ari, and
Me.
and Al. Yeah, my brain just did not want to complete your name.
Okay,
Psychics,
that's
you are no longer fuzzy.
good. Okay, so my mood has probably improved at least slightly over the last few minutes then.
Yeah, it sort of took a little while for it to wear off, and it's wearing off right around now. So.
So
Okay,
is
well-
this conversation done, or?
Yeah. Yeah. That's it.
I go back into the ready room.
Okay. You're back in the ready room. Peanuts says, "Welcome back, Cap." I think Ari, when you walk in, you get a sense off of Peanuts. He's, as you expected, he's very proud of himself, and that's the primary feeling you have. There's also a tinge of like concern. And I think you notice, based on that, like he keeps looking at the black card in the middle of the table.
So we're looking for this guy called Raphael.
Uh-huh. Oh, he goes, yeah, okay. Do you know where he is? Do we need to shoot him? Do we need to, like, what do we need to do? What do we need to do to him?
Step 1 is find him. And then step
Okay.
2 is figure out what we should do.
Well, I don't have a lot of contacts on Afra, but I can see what I can pull up. Maybe I can find the guy for you.
We do have a lead at this church, maybe associated with it.
Goes, you need me to tune a guy up? I mean, I haven't done that in a while. That could be fun.
Tune a guy up. This metaphor is eluding me.
You know, like,
Maybe an accident happens to him.
maybe he looks at you and he goes, yeah, this guy gets it. A little accident happens, you know, you go into his church, you knock a few things over, suddenly he realizes how respectful he is of you. Yeah?
I'm picking up what you're putting down.
All right. I can do that for you. I'm that guy.
I think we need a subtle touch at this time.
I think he looks down at the dog too, like at Bandit, and he goes, "Yeah, we got the bandit. We got the dog. we got this problem solved. I'll go talk to this guy right now. He'll bring the dog with him. He'll bark at him. We'll be fine.
I don't know how much of a barker Bandit is.
And he looks at and he goes, Bandit, speak. And he like drops a peanut in front of her, and she looks at the peanut hit the floor, looks up at him, and then like sits on the peanut, and like looks back up at him and goes, yeah. And then he just like shakes his head and he goes, all right, fine, that was a bad idea. That's not how it works, Bandit.
Are dogs even supposed to eat peanuts?
Do I not?
I imagine Bandit just gets up and
They
walks
like
away
peanut
while
burgers.
farting as she leaves.
Probably.
So, we think he's related to this church, which is why Ari and Randy have been scoping that place out.
Yeah. All right. You need to find this Raphael guy. You gotta do something to him once you find. Where did these guys come in? Where'd you pick them up? And he points over at Sergey and Lisa, who've been sort of like sitting in the corner. I think like Lisa is sitting down kind of cross-legged. She has her eyes closed and her hands on her knees. And Sergey's just sort of like leaning up against a wall with his arms crossed.
Oh, well, I mean, we shot Sergey, and so that wasn't so hot, but yeah.
So you shot a guy and now he works for you? I don't...
We kinda, you know, tuned him up.
Well, yeah, you shot him. That's not tuning him up. That's... You're taking a car apart of that. He looks over at Sergey and he goes, really? With these people? And he's like, so I don't care. Just fucking, what do you need me to do? Apparently I owe you a favor because of this fucker. So, what do I need to do? What do you need? What do you want me to do? I can beat a guy up. I can provide you some guns. I can, I don't know, talk to some contacts. I get you some information. What do you want? I just need to get off this fucking rock and back to business. I'm losing money by the second.
I'm always in the information game.
All right. I'm gonna talk to my whoever's left on this fucking rock, see if I can figure something out about this Raphael guy, and then I'll tell you what I know, and then I'll leave, and hopefully this Archimedes motherfucker will leave me alone. And I think as he says that, the hologram of Archimedes says, "Yes, that'll do nicely, Peanuts," and then it disappears. And he goes, "See, that shit is creepy." And he like swipes it off the table, puts it back in his pocket. And he goes, "I'll be in touch. This time, reply to my emails." And he walks out the door.
That was unpleasant. And I walk over to the kitchenette.
Yeah.
Well, he made as much sense as anybody else has lately.
He's really quite lovely when you get to know him.
So actually, I want to go back for a second. And Al, did you talk to Peanuts during that time when you were just kicking back for that 5 minutes or whatever?
I think I would have just let him and Tassus talk. I had a headache, and it just started to go away, and I'm just gonna chill.
I think he probably just like discoursed a bit, and I think he asked you at some point. In fact, I'll do it in character. He's like, "So whatever happened to that thing I put on that guy's armor? The little program. It used to be in the ship, right? I love that thing."
Oh, dude, I would have fucking totally told him about Clippy. I didn't even think about that. Definitely would have asked for Clippy back, because I like Clippy.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, someone else called me for a second. He goes, "Clippy, what is that? That's the thing, right? The thing that goes on the computer. Super annoying. Always asks that you want help with stuff.
Yeah.
I fucking love that thing." Like at this point, he's like, he's got the beer in his hand. He's looking at you. He's like, you know, you should just fucking run this ship, dude. Like, the fucking guy is such an asshole. Anyway, yeah, fucking Clippy, dude. I don't ever call him that. I just call him the thing I put on people who annoy me, which is a lot. It was this great thing I found. I was doing this job back a couple years ago, and I gotta find it in my notes. Hold on. doing this job a couple of years ago, and we were raiding this ship. It was an old authority ship. This is before the Civil War, and they had some like crazy computer shit on there. And one of my guys was like a whiz with computers and shit, and he fucking like made this program out of some of the shit they had. And fucking this thing, it was like it like knew shit, like talk and shit. It could like it was like a VI but like super, right? Yeah, and it was great because you would put it on a thing, like you put it in anything, and would figure out how to run on it, and then it would just like fucking go nuts and like drive people insane. It was so awesome. It was like
Dude, I love that thing.
waterboarding
It helped us
2.0.
doing everything.
Yeah, whatever happened to it? Where'd it go?
Dude, we hopped on this giant fucking floating nightmare ship with giant aliens, and we almost died. And yeah, apparently there was a ghost of the fucking ship, and it sucked Clippy up and ate it.
Holy shit, dude.
Yeah.
It's like some shit out of sci-fi.
Yeah, dude, it was fucking terrifying. We almost died.
Fucking. You know what was always weird about that thing is I could never have it. I couldn't install. It was not like a regular program. You couldn't like install it on every. You only install it on a couple. It's weird, you know. We got it off that ship, and it was like really old pre-tech shit. It was really weird stuff. I don't know. Sucks that I lost it though. I gotta get that guy to build me another one of those things. And around that time, they kind of walked back in. You have the rest of the conversation. And so we sort of zip back now, and it's Tacitus and the crew in the ready room, and Sergei kind of like looks around and he goes, Lisa and I, we're going to go to quarters. You will call if you need. Yes? He looks
Yeah,
at
man.
you, Tacitus.
Yeah. Go take a load off.
And he actually like picks up Lisa and like fireman carries her, and she's totally trance, like not present, like in a complete and utter state of otherness, right? And it's a little bit weird, but you know he walks out the door with her over his shoulder, and yeah, so you guys are just the crew in the room. I think Randy probably wandered back in at this point, so.
I have finished my prayers for the clearly heathen peanuts to repent.
Okay, so how did church go?
Fucking church, who's that guy?
Service was quite nice.
Complicated.
What was that last bit? I missed that.
From who?
From I think Tacitus.
Peanuts is a complicated guy. You know,
Yeah, seems to know all you and all of me. I don't like that.
information is his business. And tuning things up, apparently.
That I can understand. Don't like it, but I understand it. How's you wrapped up with the other two?
What other two in that sentence?
You know, big lug and the girl.
Oh, I don't know.
So you didn't know that beforehand?
No.
How many more of these people do you know?
Like I said, who doesn't know me? And I flash him a smile.
Don't get cocky.
Yeah,
I have
didn't you see those
no
commercials
response
he
for
put-
that.
He's putting out commercials all over space about his lawsuit, man. He's everywhere now.
All right. You're in charge. Your call. Your people.
So the point at hand right now is deciding whether or not you're going to go to this council thing, or whether you're going to head over to ASA to pursue your lawsuit.
Why not both?
Well, it could be inclusive, or you tell me how you're going to do it. How you can pull it off.
So, I would like to hear about the church situation because I have a pressing meeting on ASA.
Well, they've invited us to a church meeting about 2 days from now. Apparently, it's something about some angelic collection or something. They want to ask some questions of our companion here. And I point to Ari.
They want us to meet the bigwigs. Some kind of show and tell thing.
Mhm.
I'm the bait, apparently.
Do you think Raphael might be there?
I
Mm,
just shrug. I don't know. Might be the closest we get. Might be nothing. Might just be a tea party.
could also be a potential to get to Raphael sooner. Not guaranteed, but at least a step on the way.
Exactly. It's a maybe, not a given.
I'm thinking you guys should go.
Thinking if I walk in there with these freaks, I want backup.
Well, I'll be there with
You're
my
not Russian
shotgun.
guy.
I look at Randy for half a beat and I say, if I'm walking in there with these freaks, I want backup.
And I'll be there with my shotgun. Just like I said. I mean, I know their lingo. I'll know if they're lying to us. I'll be the first one to put a round through their head if they are.
Do you get like a
I just-
religious boner if people are lying and cursing around you?
Well, bet.
I silently but very visibly count to 10.
2. Oh man.
What do you think, Bryce? Do you want to go with these guys or do you want to come with me?
I don't think you should go anywhere by yourself. It's a dangerous galaxy.
So,
Dangerous
what I'm hearing is that 2 of you are going to leave on the ship and go to ASA, and then 2 of you are going to go to this council and stay on the planet with. You're splitting the party across the galaxy, the sector at this point, yeah?
Things got to get done.
All right.
Please God, no, don't leave me with Randy.
Before you leave, let me grab a couple
So,
blocks of C4. Just in
Uh,
case.
That is the last thing you want Randy to have on his person. I think so.
You're taking a ship, where are we
Montage a
staying?
little bit. Like, Sergey and Lisa will be staying on planet, so they'll stick with you.
I mean, I
And
imagine you could stay with Sergey, right?
Yeah, but do they have C4? I don't think they do.
Probably not.
I just want to charge it, just to be safe.
Can I roll a luck check to see if I have like some fake shittily made packets that look just enough like C4 to fool Randy?
sure, you can make the luck check, and then he'll make a perception check. And you
Damn.
don't even have the packets.
You have like a few sugar packets.
Yeah, literally.
Here, sweet and low.
I don't take all of it, just
You,
two
like,
charges.
but they're like they're sweet and low, but you've like scrapped sweet and low with a Sharpie, wrote C4 in big letters.
Trust me, I won't take it all. We got 5 charges, I'm gonna just stick 2.
Did you just say we have 5 chitters?
Charges.
I know what he meant. I'm just wondering what exactly he said there.
Randy would be the character in the show that would have to have subtitles.
I am effectively Boomhauer.
Oh well, no, it'd be great because what it would be is he would have subtitles. You know how they like put in square brackets? They'll put Texas accent or French accent or whatever.
Question
Would be
mark
a-
accent.
No, it would be a different. It would say Texan accent,
And then Louisiana,
West
and then
Virginia,
Georgia.
Louisiana, Bayou, Georgia. It would just change every time he said anything, and that would be like the
Coastal
gimmick of the show
Mississippi.
for his character. Yeah. And it would like slowly get more and more specific. So it would start like the first one you saw would just be Southern, and then it would be like southwestern, and it'd be like south central western, and it'd be like Texas accent, El Paso accent, and it would then start changing all over the place.
Oh God, yeah,
And
yeah.
it would
And then-
eventually like end with like a 40 accent or something.
And out of nowhere, just like Jewish mother, just
Yeah.
just a random for
Yeah, yeah.
shits and giggles.
You never call me.
I sent you a holiday fruitcake last year, Mother. We're fine.
Where I'm
Beat your
covered.
father to death with it.
What'd you do to Daddy?
Actually, are your parents alive, Randy? Because
No, I don't
feel
think
like
they
that
are.
Okay.
I was
That
taken
would
in by
be
the
bad.
church, which is why I'm a preacher.
All right. So yeah, it sounds like you're gonna split the party up, which I'm okay with.
I know you're okay with it. Ari is not okay with this.
Business gotta be done. So as far as your off-site accommodations go, I imagine some funds might be able to be expensed for a local hotel, but
Yeah, I'm not
maybe
staying with
like
them.
1 or 2 stars.
So
And it'll
motel.
have to be 1 bed. I'm not gonna pay for 2.
I'm sorry, but that's not of the Lord to sleep with another man.
Hey, nobody's saying you gotta sleep and stay in bed, big guy.
You could hot bunk it.
Well, this sir is just unreasonable. At least cough up for 2.
Okay, I'll see about 2 beds.
There we go. Lord, it's happening.
All right. So you guys, you're gonna go through with it?
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna grumble and drag my feet, but go along with it. Yes.
All right. Well, so I think the next scene is we see Tacitus and Al on the ship. Now, which one of you is piloting? Which one of you is navigating?
It can't be both, I take it.
Yeah,
And we never saw them again.
it's gonna be good.
How
It's
is
a
your
little-
piloting skill out?
Here's the thing. I want to point this out. Out of character, this is an opportunity for me to blow up the ship because it wouldn't be a TPK.
Well, I'm
Not
glad
that
I
I'm
took
going
the. I'm glad I took the C4 then.
I have 1 in vehicle space, so I should be the pilot, I think. I think, as
Okay.
I recall, Al's an okay navigator.
I'm probably -1 bold.
Let's go on an adventure, Al. You be the navigator.
Let's do it.
All
This could
right.
only end fantastically.
All right. Make a navigation check.
I would just
Um,
like to point out that you're putting the navigation check in the hands of the person who doesn't have the reroll.
No, they committed. Make me a navigation check. You're gonna actually need to make
We have
3.
committed.
Holy shit! All right, I can actually look up this table. Hold on. I think something bad just happened.
Adventure is going to happen.
Oh my god! Come on, I gotta load, buddy. Put my glasses back on. So I was hoping this was gonna be the first session. Where, what happened? Did this ship blow up?
Failed navigation roll 4 to 5 as shear surge overwhelms internal systems. Ship emerges around star nearest to drill origin. 50% chance for each system to be non-functional until repaired.
Okay.
If the splash drive fails, treat it as if a 3 were rolled.
Okay. Let me. Oh, hang on. I gotta read.
Page 65.
Yeah, I gotta find the book. Hold on. I was hoping I could get through this whole session without having to open the book, and then you did something. Core edition, page 63. You said.
65.
Look on the bright side. If you rolled one less, it would have been a catastrophic dimensional energy incursion.
But here's the thing. If the spike drive rolls its failure, because each system has a 50% chance to fail, then you treat it as if a 3 were rolled.
65. So, let's see here. What are the systems on the ship? You have weapons.
Let
You
me look
have
it up.
life support. I'm just like abstractly. Weapon systems, life support,
Coffee
spike
maker,
drive,
tea maker.
and computer.
Massage
I think
chair.
those
Yeah,
are
I
the
feel like
four.
navigation is a system.
Well, so
That'd be
navigation is
part
part
of
of like the
computer.
computer system.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a specific part of the computer system. So,
Does the
okay.
particle accelerator count?
No, that's not a ship system. It's a thing on the ship that is a system.
Okay.
It's like separate from the ship system. So there's weapons, there's navigation, or a computer system, right? So weapons, computer system, life support, spike drive. So I need you to roll 1d2 4 times. We're gonna roll in that order. So the first one is weapon systems. Roll 1d2. 1 is fail, 2 is pass.
You want me to roll him or him?
You should have. You roll the next one. We'll alternate. So you still have weapons. That's good. Next one is computer systems. You have no computer systems. You're no ability to navigate. Your life support. You have no life support. And last one. Oh, you still have the spike drive. Okay, so you are. Now this says you ship emerges near star nearest to drill origin. You're leaving Gonzalez, so you're still in the Gonzalez system. As you're, what I think what happens here
Pete,
is
that's hell.
so what happens is you Al, you go down to set a plot, and you've seen other people do this a few times, and you're confident that you can do it. You sit down and you're like, I know I can just do this. And what you do is you do plot a correct course. It's only a correct course if you were leaving from another system and going to another system. And the reason is you're just literally mimicking something you've seen someone do before, because you have no idea how to do this. And you actually pilot yourself into the corona of the sun of this.
Well done.
Immediately, your computer systems overload. Tacitus, you're at the piloting helm. Can you make a pilot check?
What is it against?
Your dexterity. This is to figure out how much damage is done to your ship as part of this.
This is also vehicle space, right?
Yeah, vehicle space. Okay. Yeah, so you take like, how many hit points does the ship have, Tim?
20.
Okay, I'm gonna roll like Corona's gotta do some damage to you, so I'm gonna say it's like 2d6. You take half damage. Yes, you take like 2 points of damage. You manage to like drive directly out of the corona of the sun, and but your systems overheat, and immediately you see 2 big red flashing lights, Tacitus. One is showing computer systems failing, and it's like all the peripheral computer systems, so you can still pilot the ship, but it's like you're totally manual. You have no autopilot, and your life support systems are down.
Quick question.
Resulting, yeah.
Did they take the dog?
No, the dog's still. Oh, actually, did you? I don't know.
I did not take Bandit with us. No. Did you,
Alright, so
Ari?
I have no particular attachment to Bandit. That was a previous crew thing.
Yeah, so Bandit's still on the ship. He's probably actually, or she's probably. Tacitus. Like she hangs out on the bridge when you guys are on the bridge. So, yeah. So what you see next is, like there's a rend in the side of the ship. That's the 2 points of damage or whatever. And you see boxes and boxes of supplies, and a few of them have like ripped open, and you see tea cookies like floating through space.
No.
Your life support is down, and you cry at cookies.
And, yeah, so all of your supplies are gone. You're venting atmosphere. You have a relatively short amount of time to navigate back to the planet, which is not super far away, thankfully. Like you can get there within an hour or two, but you need to get back to a habitable planet or suffocate to death. What would you like to do?
I'm gonna go find my vac suit and put it on.
Okay. Um, yeah, so you probably have them on the bridge of the ship. I mean, you have some life support, so you got plenty of time. Al, what are you doing?
I think I would go find like some sort of manual, trying to figure out what the fuck I did wrong.
Okay. Ship's blowing up. You're like, I need to look at the book. Hold on. Yeah, and so there's like a couple of. You see one that has like a yellow binding, and you pull it out, and it's Stellar Navigation for Dummies, and splay that open on a nearby panel, which is now dead. A few moments later, we see Tassus come back. He's got the full vac suit on, and the dog is like at your feet, Al, like whimpering a little bit and like clearly concerned. Tassus, what do you do? You're still in the Gonzalez systems. You can just fly back to the planet.
Like, how bad is the hole in the ship?
You
Can I
are
investigate
venting
that?
atmosphere. You have exactly how long it will take to get back and land on. You have no food on the ship, and your computer systems are completely fried.
I'm getting a bad vibe from that.
Yeah. So let me put it this way: repairing the computer systems. You don't have this yet. If you get back, you'll have an appraisal, but the number in my brain is like it's gonna be not cheap, like maybe 50 grand to repair the computer systems, because they're completely shot. Like the thing says, each of them is non-functional until repaired. So, yeah, I mean, I think that that means it's blown up, right? It's a sheer surge overwhelms internal. So basically, your computer system blew up, and you're relying on, emergency backups, basically. Um, and then your life support system also blew up. You're venting atmosphere to space. No food or water on the ship right now. It's red alert. You're in a bad way.
You fucked up epically.
Yeah, like, I mean, you were literally one away from having all of your systems destroyed and emerging around a star within 1d6 hexes of your target destination, which is, could be anywhere.
Okay, well, I guess I'm gonna go back to the bridge, try to pilot back to the planet.
Okay, make a pilot check. Dexterity. I think you can get back to the planet no problem, because but landing on the planet is not, but you manage it no problem.
Skillful pilot.
And yeah, you come in back to, it's literally, you've only been gone like maybe a couple hours. And I think actually like the rest of the crew hasn't even like left yet. Like they're still like organizing themselves. They're waiting for a car or
They're waiting
something.
for the bus.
Yeah, they're waiting for the bus. Exactly. So they like what we see, I think, no, this is how it plays out. You see the ship take off, and the camera just sort of sits on like the rest of the crew. So you got Sergey and Lisa, and you have Randy and Ari, and they're all like standing around with their bags. They're like loading them onto like a little hand truck or something, and making their way past the gypsy cabs towards the bus stop. And they finally get there, and it's a bit of a haul, right? Because they got a lot of stuff. And Sergey is saying, well, you can stay with me, and it'll be fine. And we have a room for you at the compound, and it'll be fine. Everybody's just sort of, and then they just sit at a bus stop, and we see sort of like flash to them, and then we jump cut over, and it's we see Al make this fateful nearly fatal roll, and we see the ship jump, and the next thing we see is the screen goes bright white. And we jump back to the people at the bus stop, and they're just sitting there and they're like whistling. It's totally like no music or anything in the background. Then we jump back, and it's like intense music, and there's explosions going, and we see, Tass is like running around the bridge to find his vac suit, and he puts on his vac suit. And we see the dog, and we see him like very like sort of like Hot Fuzz, like where they do those like scenes where they're suiting up, and they're like that sort of like jump cut with the sound. And he's going and pulling out the thing. When we look at it, it's Stellar Navigation for Dummies, and he opens the chapter "Where Did I Go Wrong?" And then we jump back, and it's again totally quiet. Maybe you hear a little bird chirping, and they're just sitting there as sort of the sound of cars go by. We jump back again, and we see Tacitus like fighting the controls to land, and then we jump back one more time to see the people at the bus stop, and you hear this sort of like sound in the background. And finally, there's one last sort of jump back to Tacitus, and we see him, and there's like a single bead of sweat dripping down his forehead, and he lands the ship with a thunk, and it's like a, and we clap back to the people at the bus stop, and they're still looking straight ahead as like a smoking Jack Rose sits behind them in the same spot where it was parked before. And I think at that point, like Sergey sort of like stops for a second and goes, "That that sounded weird." And he looks over his shoulder and he goes, "Oh, they're back." And he like gets up and starts walking back to the ship.
I follow him.
Yeah, I look back over my shoulder and go, "Yeah, boss is back."
And yeah, so you're walking back to the ship. You got the hand truck. I think Lisa's going like, "What the hell's going?" The rest of you are just like, "Okay, that happened." And you get back to the ship, and it's like there's smoke pouring out of it. There's a big rend in the side of the ship. And the cargo bay door drops down, and there's Al and Tacitus. I assume you guys have left the bridge of the ship, and they look pretty worse for the wear. What do you guys do when you see them?
I make the comment. Whoever's responsible for this, I suggest we revoke their privileges for whatever they were doing.
Oh, I don't know. I figured we've already put some holes inside the ship. What's a couple more on the outside? Nobody will just fucking notice.
I mean, there's a
So-
fire and some smoke over there.
You
And
don't need to coordinate with Randy's sense of decorating.
I mean, it looks like back home, but I don't think it's real fit for travel now.
Oh man. So I think we kind of like just like fade to and like it just sort of like the camera sort of leaves the conversation behind, pulls out, and just gets a good look at the ship, which is in a pretty hefty state, right? I need to go use the bathroom, so we're gonna take a break. And when we come back, we'll figure out how much that shit's gonna cost you.
When we come back, we'll find out how expensive your little attempt to go see your lawsuit was.
You had one job. All right, I'll be right back.
You gave the navigation roll to the psychic, is all I'm saying.
Try to get crew members to feel part of the crew.
I'm curious to see how the other.
There's such a thing as, inclusive leadership and all that, and then there's putting the best person in charge of the job
Oh,
they're
that's
best
bullshit. The fucking game, man.
I'm gonna go get some popcorn for the next catastrophic event.
Oh, that was awesome.
Fucking kick me in the nuts while I'm down.
Where's episode 16 on the YouTubes?
Have we gotten through 16, or is this 16?
I see 15, and it was not the last session.
Okay. I'm just so far away from being caught up. I've gone through and listened to some of the old ones at this point.
All right, I'm back. Who else is here?
I'm here.
1, 2.
Just
I
us
am here.
rabbits.
All right, we got everybody. Cool. All right, so yeah, we come back. A little bit of time has passed. There are some people putting. So it seems to me you need to find someone to assess the damage and repair it on the ship. You need to find some way to pay for that. You lack a computer to contact virtually anybody of import. And you have a meeting to get to in 3 days or 2 days. 2 days. So, what do y'all want to do?
Captain, might I make a request that we have a training seminar on how to navigate the ship?
Request noted.
Thank you, Captain.
Now, you know what I want to do. What made the game interesting? Circles roll to know somebody.
Man. Yes. Yes. Do a circles roll.
Culture spacer or traveler.
Culture traveler. On your charisma.
I gotta know somebody.
So the stakes of this roll are if you pass, it's DC 7 like everything else. If you pass, you will know a person who will give you an honest quote and do honest work. If you fail, one of those things will not be true.
But we won't know which.
Yep. He passed though. He already rolled him.
Okay, yeah. So you know a guy. Yeah. What's his name?
Oh,
How do you know him?
let's see. Name generator.
Actually, like literally, how do you know this guy? He's on Afra. You are from like the literal backwater on the outer rim of the sector.
That is.
You were also a hermit. So
Hermit buddies?
Herman Lobo. I like that one.
Herman Lobo. Okay, yeah. So you got this Herman Lobo. You call him up, and how do you know him?
I think it's less that I know him. It's more that I think I think I know somebody on the planet that I could call for, hey, look,
I see.
I I'm on planet. We
Like
have
someone, yeah, someone who's like, I'm moving to, like it was like the big city or something.
It's like your
Yeah,
guy that
There,
knows
you call
other
that guy.
guys.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. I think this was far less of me knowing a mechanic and more
I
of me
mean, so it
knowing.
might also be like you go through a bunch of mechanics and use your psychic abilities just to know which one is actually honest. That could also be a way to explain it.
Yeah,
In any
yeah.
case, I feel like that's a little bit more like because you
I was
were a
thinking of something
hermit.
that was a little less montagey.
Yeah,
Well,
well, I mean, like,
but I was also in and out of the larger dome cities
okay,
periodically, especially when I was taken there and they tried to keep me for a while.
okay, yeah. So, you call up somebody you know, and they refer you to someone they know, who refers you to someone that they know, and eventually this Herman Lobo, and he comes to the ship, and I think he looks at the ship, and he looks at you, and he goes, "This has got to be the one, right?" And I'm not gonna. He's got like a Spanish accent like everybody else, but I just can't do it because my nose is all stuffy.
No, we assume the accents.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, this is the one.
He goes, "Well, let me take a look at it." And he just walks past you, and walks up onto the ship and like goes to the site where the most damage is. Takes out some tools and starts analyzing stuff. A little while passes. I don't know if any of you follow him, but he just like inspects all the parts of the ship that are damaged. And he looks at it, and I think I need to look up in the book how much this stuff costs. because you basically need replacements. Where's Ships Game Master Guide Systems?
I know what caused this. I was drinking earlier.
Yes, definitely. Starship Combat,
Starship
Maintenance and
fittings is
Repair.
one.
I'm pretty sure I would have blew under a .08.
Fittings is actually what I want. What is that?
I
51.
don't know. Al strikes me as a bit of a lightweight. Even if it was one space beer.
Well,
Okay.
was it one of those, what they call them things?
All right, so I said you had broken life support and broken
Computer system.
weapon computer systems. Yeah. So let's see. Multiply by 2 for frigates. You are definitely a frigate. If I had 10 frigates with a star, all right, so it's 50,000 for that, and we have for.
Yeah, while you were gone, Jay Fred, I rolled another navigation roll just for shits and
I
giggles.
saw.
I rolled a fucking
I saw.
11.
It's I'm gonna say he comes back and he goes. He looks at you, Eric. Ari.
You went totally silent there.
He looks at you and he goes, "Are you the captain?"
I look at the ship. This thing, not in your life. And I nod him over to Tacitus.
He looks over at you, Tacitus. He goes, "Captain."
That's me.
He hands you a data slate, and it's got like a line item thing, and at the bottom there's a big number, and it's not just big in like font size. It's big in number. It's 150,000 credits for a repair job. And he just looks at you and he goes, "That's what it's going to cost. Will that be cash or?"
Well, let me talk with the ship accountant.
He goes, "Okay," and shrugs.
So, ship accountant, how much money do we have in our account?
As the ship's accountant, we have $66,182. And or this number I'm about to put in chat, because I have a feeling you don't understand what I'm saying.
So in other words, we're fucked.
Well, let's
Just
not
get
be
up.
too hasty, Ari.
We gotta get paid for this job.
Can we dine and dash on a mechanic?
I think he's going to expect at least half up front on a job this big. He also quotes you a time. I think it's probably going to take like a while to do this. Can you roll 60-30? It's going to take 83 days to do all the repairs.
Hey, that was a lot lower than he could have rolled.
Yeah, no shit, dude. 60-30s?
True.
Well, I mean, we're saving money on the hotel at least.
And I don't have to bunk with Randy.
Do I still have my like smartphone pad
Yep.
tablet thing?
You got your compad, yeah. That's on you.
Can I send mail to the lady? On
What lady?
Asa?
Yeah, you can send her a mail.
Subject delayed. I've recently been delayed as account of catastrophic navigation error. I don't think I'll be able to meet you, which is unfortunate.
Okay. Yeah, and you just send that off.
P.S.
Uh-huh.
Make sure you use a trained navigator.
P.S. Don't skimp on your navigator. Pay the man.
See, this is why we need Clippy.
That's wonderful.
And a
think we just
training
killed
seminar.
Oh man, so last night we had a burning wheel game in which everybody got fucked up. There was a massive fight. And it was wonderful because there was one character who was just like fighting the whole time, trying not to, like, fighting against all of her beliefs. It was awesome. Tonight, I blew up a ship. I'm rolling 20s, nat 20s as a GM right now. So many points. Yeah, so that message goes off and it will get there in a few days. Within that 6-day window she gave you.
I guess I also add, if anyone from her guild was on Gonzalez, I'd be happy to talk to them.
Yeah, so okay. You'll hear back in 2 weeks.
Okay, so that problem is resolved. So we've got the deficit of 90 grand. I guess we'll just have to rob the church.
You know, like you do.
Did the dog survive getting back?
Yeah, he just walked out the ship with you.
Randy just looks at both Tacitus and Ari dumbfounded at those comments.
Actually, you know, I might try to hawk some stuff on Space Bay.
Oh my god.
Were those
Go on,
statues we
Space.
found pure gold?
No, they were porcelain with gold filigree and stuff. Like gold plating on some of the things. Gold foil, really.
Pyrite.
Yeah.
I mean, we still got preserved head of Malcolm Blackwell.
I forgot about that.
I also forgot about that.
We could probably sell that to like a medical research facility.
I've got some alien gum.
There's got to be like a scene of Tacitus going through and stuff, and like holding up various things. He's got like a pair of socks. He's like, I could probably sell that. Tosses it in one pile, and there's like, oh, a pair of like dirty underwear. Tosses it in another pile. And then he just pulls up, and it's Mal's head, and it's like the meat is like sloughing off because it's old. It's like at this point it's like 6 months old.
Nah, we definitely put it in the fridge. That's why it says preserved.
Believe me, that is not what you want to find when it's the middle of the night and you're looking for leftovers.
I can't handle this right now.
I think we've killed Joe. We all roll XP.
I just have this image of like Sergey go get a drink in the middle of the night, and he opens the fridge, and there's Mal's face. That, like, his eyes are really bugging out because he's sort of like gone from being, dead and decapitated, and his like cheeks are sort of like falling down a little bit, and his mouth is over. Oh my god. Yeah. So you have some alien gunk and a decapitated head.
I've also got something called Beast Piece, which I think is a piece of the giant alien we killed.
Yes. That's probably the case.
So I'm gonna make a post to Space Craigslist offering to sell the alien gunk.
So I think you get a few emails from people who believe you are selling something other than alien but no real takers. Um, you can't really sell that. That stuff is not saleable. It's valuable, but not to people on Space List.
All right. Does anyone else have any ideas?
To sell a rotten,
I mean,
decapitated
okay, so
head.
say yes or roll dice, right? So I mean, you could make business roll with your charisma, and if you do really fucking well on it,
See,
then
the
there'll be a
gypsies will
buyer.
buy anything. Just tell them it's magic pixie dust.
Yeah, so I think like a DC 11 business roll to sell a decapitated head, some alien gunk, and a piece of some beast.
Yeah, I'm not that good at business.
Yeah. There's no real consequence for failure if you just want to try it. But like you'll get a reasonable price for that stuff. It won't be hundreds of thousands of credits, but
You want some help with that, Captain? I had to help handle my church's books when I was pastor there. Oh, see that basically.
sales. That's wonderful.
Oh, see that basically means I have a zero in business.
mm-hmm.
You know, maybe we should contact the Circle people. Maybe they'd be interested in buying it.
Mm-hmm.
Does my card? I'd like take out my card and like tap it and like shake it and like bop it.
Tap tap. tap.
Yeah, so I think you know tap it, shake it, bop it a few times, and eventually, like you go to tap it, you're about to put it away, you tap it one more time, and it like switches over to like Archimedes' face on the thing, and he like sort of like mocks that you hit him in the face, like that really hurt, and he like says chuckles to himself a little bit, and he looks at you and he goes, "What do you need, Captain?"
Would you be interested in purchasing some alien gunk to help fund repairs to our ship?
What did you do to the ship?
I'm not gonna use the term me because I didn't do it. But we experienced a catastrophic navigational failure.
I see. What's the damage?
Bad.
I see.
I like turned the card just and like pointed it at the ship.
Yeah, I think he goes like he doesn't say anything until you point, and he goes, "Oh, I see." And there's like plumes of smoke still, just like random. Something falls down or something. And he goes, "How much is it going to cost?"
160, or was it 150?
150.
150.
$150 at with 3 zeros at it,
Okay.
and in credits.
Yeah. 150,000 credits, right? And he goes, well, have you completed your task on Afra yet?
No, but the good news is we'll have plenty of time to do it.
He goes, you're not too far from one of our bases. I think I can arrange for transport for you and your ship after you complete your task. They can repair it there for significantly less. We can repair it at cost. He goes, do you have any data from the mechanic?
Yes, I have a very long list with a large number at the bottom.
He says he says it's a data slate, right?
Tis.
He goes, put the card on the data slate.
I do that.
Yeah, so you put the card on a data slate, and it kind of like melts into the data slate a little bit. And his face sort of stays where you put it, but there's no. And he like reaches down. He actually like reaches out of the card, reaches down and pulls up the bottom of the thing, and you see him like holding it out like a paper, and he's reading through it. And he goes, yes, I think we could probably do this for quite a bit less on the base. Okay, and he puts the page back, and like the card sort of like comes back out of the data slate and slides down, and you catch it. And he goes, yes, complete your task on Afra, head towards sector, or wait for my ship to get there. It'll be there in a few days, and they'll take you over to the base. And he goes, I think you've been there before. Subject of some kind of lawsuit.
Yes, I have.
And he says, okay, it's good talking to you, Captain. Hopefully hopefully you'll finish your task soon. And he it sort of swoops back into the circle, and then you have just the white card with the.
Okay, we're just knocking down problems today. Let's go to church.
Oh man. All right, so yeah, I think it's a couple days away, but you guys are on the ship. You've turned away Herman Lobo. He's not repairing the ship at all. There's a couple of the quarters have had some moderate damage done to them. There's also no food on the ship, so it is going to cost you a little bit to live for those 3 days. You're dealing with oxygen from the outside, but it's unfiltered, so you probably have it's probably a little bit rough for a couple days. It's not, it's maybe a little bit warm sometimes. There's no running water on the ship, so you have to go out to the communal restroom at the spaceport, which is obviously not very clean and populated by all sorts of people. Yeah, probably costs you all told 500 credits to live for those 3 days, or those 2 days between now and the meeting. Now, the meeting time comes around. You guys have, at some point, responded to the pastor to tell him you were going to come to this thing, right?
Yes, I would imagine.
I think I sent Randy to RSVP for us. I skipped that one.
Okay. Yeah, well, I mean, you probably just called him, right? They have phones here. It's okay. Yeah, and so who's going? What's the plan when you get there? Are you trying to set something up? Are you just going to go to this thing? I'm kind of asking the group.
I feel like I would avoid going to church at all costs.
Mm-hmm. So, that doesn't mean you won't go to help, right? You might not go in the church.
I would go in the vicinity, just not actually go inside the church.
Okay. And I think Sergey and Lisa are going to be out there with you, because they can't go in the church. They're working with the other team. So, obviously Ari kind of has to. I imagine Randy is. So the question is, where is Tess? What are you guys doing as a group?
I think Tacitus didn't make a terribly good first impression.
Are you
I fell
here?
asleep.
Okay.
Yeah, he fell asleep.
Yeah, you fell asleep. Yeah, so I mean, what's your plan for this? You don't really know. You don't know the situation at all, so you gotta kind of come up with.
I want to have a pre-programmed, basically a compad. Oh shit, do I even have a compad? I think I bought a compad. Yes, I have a compad.
I think everybody has a compad, so everybody has a smartphone.
Yeah, I want to have a pre-programmed message, sent to go out to Tacitus and Al if shit goes down and we need evac and or a distraction. But other than that, I just plan on playing it by ear with Randy. Let Randy be my chaos-causing distraction.
All right.
I mean, I am bringing C4.
So yeah, let's think about this a little bit. So I think what we're gonna do, we're gonna jump right to the action, and then if we need to do some planning, we'll sort of flash back to that planning sort of.
So we're gonna blaze in the dark it.
Shut up.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I steal your trick?
That is exactly where I'm stealing this particular trick from. So
Well, it works so well.
It really does. So let's jump ahead. You guys are at the you're at the church and you're meeting up with the pastor. It's like probably like a Thursday afternoon. Um, and
Did they frisk
uh,
me on the way in?
no. Um, however, the pastor's wife meets you and gives a very kind of sharp look at Randy and looks right where you packed the C4. Is it exposed, Randy?
Not really. It's in a little kind of
Yeah.
pack where.
She looks right at it and like gives you like a look of like that's not cool. Um and kind of like you get a very overwhelming sensation that it was a bad idea to bring that. And it's a very can you make a mental effect save?
Yes.
That's good. If she's looking at his C4, she's not looking at my grenades.
So you are feel compelled to put down the C4. I'm coming around to you there, mister. Um, and like she's not worried about your shotgun, but she is worried about the C4. And you feel compelled to put it away, and put it like drop it where it is. And you do so. That's what that mental effect save is.
Okay.
So you no longer have that C4. Now, as for grenades, how are the grenades stowed?
Well, pretty much most of the time I've had that satchel on me.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got random papers and miscellaneous stuff in it. Usually my comm pad, some of the contents of the survival kit I have, miscellaneous, mostly outdoorsy kind
Okay.
of junk.
So I think that as she is sort of like doing this thing at Randy, you can hear her saying like out loud, as if it were out loud, say, put that on the ground now. But she very clearly wasn't speaking. Um, and then she looks over at you and looks at your satchel. And sort of like I think she intuits something without doing any psychic bullshit. But she knows that you're a psychic and therefore doesn't want to like play that card. Um, and she kind of like looks at you and looks at your satchel and then gives you like a sharp look like play nice kitties, and then goes back to walking with her husband.
I
Um,
just utterly ignore having seen the look.
mhm. But what you do see is you just see and you're like the plop of the C4 hit the ground as Randy takes it off.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the rest of you probably see that as well. Like Randy just sort of like unbuckles something and it plops on the ground. Um, and so you guys see where it is. Um, and yeah, so it's probably like halfway. You guys are like in a car or something that you rented or stole or otherwise acquired. And it's like halfway between the car and the church. You're down the street a little ways. Yeah, so you guys head into the church, and the pastor takes you sort of up through the sanctuary and behind like the area where the pulpit and the altar is, like the sort of that main. There's like a little auditorium type of thing set up, and there's the pulpit. It's a raised area, and behind that there are some offices. And he takes you back to one of them, and there's some more building past that. Um, and he takes you into this room. It's probably it's relatively small. It's maybe like 15 feet by 15 feet. There's a large sort of screen on one wall, and there's nothing in front of it. And there's like a pew against the back wall, sort of in two parts. And you come into the middle of the room, and he directs you to sit in the pew, and he sits next to you. Yeah, what do you guys just sit down or?
On entering a room that small, I basically cram myself into one of the back corners.
Yeah. So yeah, that's like right where the pew ends. So like, if you want to be as small as possible, you're sitting in that corner.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So he sits down, and his wife catches the lights as she comes and sits down next to him. And you're sitting next to Randy against one wall, and Randy's there, and then there's the door, and then the pastor, and then his wife. And she catches the lights, and it dims in the room. There's a small window off to one side that lets some light in. And a few moments later, a hologram appears in front of you, and it's actually bigger than the room is. So it's like all of a sudden the room seems to be 50 feet by 50 feet. It's huge, and there are dozens of other people sort of similarly dressed to the pastor. And in the back, there's like a lot of these images of various angels, and you see there's one that's standing, and it has her hand. They're all women, like female angels, and one has her left hand over her eyes, like covering them. The one next to her um, has a mace in both hands, kind of crossed over her. She's got one hand near the ball of the mace is facing upward, and one is facing downward, and she's sort of like holding the mace in front of her. So those are two there, and then on the other side of them, sort of symmetrically, there's one in the middle that's much bigger than the others. I'll get to that in a second. But on the left side, there's one with her right hand covering one of her eyes, her right eye, and then the one next to her, sort of second from the left, is she's holding a book that's open, and there's like some sort of liquid, like it's all like as if it were like a stone statue, but there's like a liquid sort of thing pouring out of the center of that book, and there are droplets that are suspended in air. So it looks like a sculpture, but it's like there are some things that are defying gravity. And then the center one is a much larger statue, and it's that same holding out the sword, and with like the gold filigree and stuff that you've seen in these people's houses. And in front of them are a number of other pastors that all look very similar. You see that the pastor to your side has his eyes closed, and he's kind of like sitting, and there's like an armrest to the pew, and his hand is on it. He's like grabbed it, and his eyes are closed, and it looks like he's doing work, like he's doing something. And his wife is sitting there, sort of like rubbing his leg and trying to console him, because it's very clearly taxing for him to do this. And the one of the other pastors speaks up and says, "This meeting is called to order." And there's some discussion for a bit, and eventually, like, the discussion moves around, and it's this pastor's turn to talk. And so he doesn't start talking or anything, like his person doesn't, but there's another pastor that sort of gets up in this hologram, and all of the holograms are like this sort of like bluish white color, almost like the color of marble, like Carrara marble. And he starts speaking, and he's speaking in Spanish, and I don't think Randy speaks Spanish, right?
I believe that he speaks French.
Yeah. So you can
Yes.
probably pick up a couple of words, but you don't really know enough to follow the conversation. But Ari, you definitely understand what he's saying. And he's talking about how recently there was a person who's come to his church. It was a new member, or like a new person coming to his church. He doesn't use the term member. And he says that it was very concerning because the first night he was there, he explains what kind of sermon he gave. And then he said, and afterward, I went to greet him, and I noticed that his hands had the stigmata. I've invited him here, as I've mentioned last week, and I would like for him to come over, and I'd like to show you these stigmata so you can interpret them. And he directly references someone named Raphael. He says, "Raphael, I would like if you could interpret them." And at that point, his wife sort of gestures over to you, come stand next to him.
Okay, I say quietly, but probably loud enough that it's definitely audible. Randy, watch me.
Yep. I already am. I'm on edge.
Yeah, and
Okay.
I sort of slouch over to them, and
And she just sort of
not
like,
close, but nearby.
and she says to you in a full voice, she's whispering at all. She's like, "Yeah, I need you to put your hand on his," and like gestures and makes like a sign so that you can, because there's a little bit of chatter in the background.
This wasn't the deal. This wasn't the deal. I wasn't supposed to touch anybody.
Well, you need to be able to talk to them. This is how it works.
They can't see me?
No, they can only see the person who's running the machine. She goes, this is a long distance communication device. I don't really know how it works, but it's some kind of, I don't know. My husband calls it pre-tech.
Well, if your husband and the rest of these people want to talk to my friend here, they can come do it in person.
And I think she looks at you confusedly, and she's like, they're scattered all over the sector. That would be impossible. It would take just as long to get here as it would to get back. They'd never have time to administer their parishes or their dioceses.
I stop her and I say, and I turn back to Randy and I say, "Now, Randy, fine. We'll meet them partway."
All right.
And she kind of like breathed a heavy sigh.
They played straight with us so far. I'll give a little. And I look straight at her and I say, "But you better be on the level."
And she nods. She goes, "Of course."
All right. I touch the thing, the magic doohickey.
Yeah. So, as you do, you feel this sort of down in front of the door, because you get like it's your your left hand and there's nothing behind you. And so you sit down and you find yourself falling into a trance. And you've been in a trance dozens of times. You're psychic. This is. And a few moments later, you see yourself in a room, and it's a full color like room. There's a large table, and it looks like the hologram from before, but now it's in full color. And you can see that there are these five angel figures, and they're not made of stone. They're in full color, and they're wearing beautiful, like well-made clothes, and robes that are flowing, and they're also moving slightly. And you can make out more of their facial features, and they look like actual people. They look like they're real people, um, like that could speak to you if you were to speak to them. And so a few moments later, you kind of get your bearings. It's a little bit disorienting because you feel like you're in another place. And the pastor says, "This is Ari Mallory. He's the one with the stigmata." And he looks at you and goes, "Thank you for coming. Could you show them your hands?" And he's speaking in fluent Spanish, of course.
Mm-hmm. I
Uh,
slowly pull my hand out.
yeah, and so if we kind of like snap back to a second for Randy's perspective, and you're just sitting there in a trance, eyes closed, you look very calm, like there's no reason to worry. But then we jump back, sort of jump cut back to you holding out your palms, and there's a audible gasp that goes through the room, and the big figures stir in the background, and people start talking about, is this the sign, and and they're all different, like little conversations go on, and eventually there's one sort of voice that rings out, and it's silence kind of thing, like a very booming voice. And then a man walks forward from out of the group, and it's another man similarly dressed to everybody else, and he actually takes your hand in the like space, like where you are, and holds it up a little bit closer to him. And he's relatively short. He's about 5'4", 5'5", something like that. He's wiry and thin, with graying hair, and sort of big glasses. And he speaks in a slight French accent, um, and he says, "We have not seen this for many years." And he goes, "Paul, are you sure you have seen this in person?"
I don't know what the big deal is. I cut myself on something sharp.
And he looks at both of your hands, and he looks at you and he goes, "You know this is not any cuts." And like Paul is nodding, and he's like, "Yeah, I was freaking out about it." And he looks at your hands and he's like, "I need to And he just sort of like looks back and forth for a minute, and he goes, "I need to consult the scriptures. I do not know what this means, but it is a sign. Uh, I think we may need to speak to her."
Did I catch
And
something on your planet?
he looks at you and he goes, "This is no disease. This is something. This is a sign. This is a sign from hopefully God." Uh, and he says that and he just sort of like, we're hoping it's good. But he says, I think we might need to speak to her. And when he says that, um, you can feel in the room, both the wife and the pastor, um, blanch, like internally, like their emotions just blanch. They go nuts. Like, this is scary as shit. The fact that they need to speak to whoever this person is terrifying. Um, but in the hologram, in this like area where you are, the pastor looks at this man. He goes, Raphael, are you sure? Like, that's a big deal. Like, he I don't know exactly how he puts it, but he's like, in a very sort of reverent way, he's like, I I don't want to do that. I don't want to be involved in that. That's scary. I just run my church. That's what I do. I'm not an uppity up here. That's why I'm talking to you. And there's a moment where Raphael's consoling him and says it's okay. We need to talk to her. And he looks at you, Arnie, and says, it's all right. You can go now. And a few moments later, you find yourself sort of out of the trance, back in the room, and your hand is at your side, and Randy's to your right. Um, and yeah, you go, and I assume you just go back and sit down in the corner, like.
Well, I'm gonna look at the pastor. You know, open my eyes, look at the pastor and his wife, and say,
Mhm.
"Who's this her when she's at home?"
Um, and the pastor's wife looks at you and she goes, "We'll have to explain to you afterward. It's too much right now." And she goes, "Why don't you sit down?" And um, she goes, "Hopefully you won't find out soon." That's like the last thing she says. And then let's see. I'm wondering if I need to delay this just a little bit. I think we're close enough to done time here. Yeah, so I think the last thing you see before we, cut to black, um, is in the hologram. There's another one of these like statued women. She's much shorter than the angel. She doesn't have wings or anything. Um, but she's walking towards the group, and she's quite far away. And she's in a long, kind of flowing gown, similar to the rest of them. To an outside viewer, someone who hasn't been in this thing, like in this trance state, it looks like a statue walking towards you. And so that's what the viewers see, that, right? And then we snap to Ari's perspective, and for you, Ari, it's sort of like everything is in muted color still. Like, you can interpret the colors now. Um, and it's this, long brown, like sort of beigeish, like very light brown, tannish almost color. And she's walking towards the group, and Raphael looks at Paul, the pastor, and says, "It's okay. We'll take care of this. We're going to talk to her. She's on her way now." And the figure like sort of like blinks closer a few times, and then the last thing we see is the camera is looking at the Pastor Paul guy, and he says, "Okay, thank you, Bishop," and is sort of like winding things up. And it looks over at Raphael, and he goes, "Yes, thank you. You can leave now." And then it snaps, just sort of pulls out a little bit, and we see Judy, the person we saw on the basilisk, Raphael, and then the hologram drops, and we fade to black, and that's the end.
Well, fuck.
Yeah, and
That's
so you
always a
guys
good
all
sign.
get a good look at this person. So you like, because you guys both saw her, so you recognize who this is. The folks on the outside have no fucking clue because they haven't seen any of this. But
Well,
um,
did they see her on the basilisk?
they would know who Judy is if they saw her, because, well.
She was a former crewmate.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but I
So-
mean,
I might have forgot her.
on the basilisk,
Well.
did they see the vision of her that I know Randy and I saw?
Mm-hmm. I don't remember. I know that there were a couple of points where people saw Judy. I think I got around to everybody seeing. That was part of the goal of that whole situation, was everybody needed to see this particular character because she was
Okay.
going to come out. So I think everybody can note that they've seen Judy in this format. But yeah, so fade to black on that last bit, probably with some dramatic music. Yeah. So did anybody complete?
Nope, I got none on my end.
I got a maybe. I
Uh,
believed I couldn't die, which means I trusted the navigation skills
I think
of a man who
I think
clearly was
given,
not an expert.
given what was rolled, yeah, you can roll belief.
Solid amount of expert.
Yeah, it's down to a 1 at this point, so you might want to change. It's now just such a part of your character that experience to engage with it. So
Yeah.
it's still, you still might believe that, but you're not really going to gain much from it. Let's see. I don't see. Yeah. Does anybody got anything?
Number 5, because originally it was written when I thought we were sending Randy in and I was his backup.
Mm-hmm. Serious mission to the church. Yeah, I mean, I think. I give this a value. It's a 3.
And I'm not sure about 4. I made progress towards, but I definitely don't think it was it was completed.
Use my powers. Yeah. So I think you made progress towards 4, but you haven't completed it. Number 5 is. You haven't quite completed that mission yet, but you'll be able to roll it like early next time.
Yeah, it was originally written as I was thinking Randy was the one going in, and I just wanted to make sure he got out.
Yeah. So I think once you have left the church, then you'll be able to probably claim that. Because then at that point they'll trust you. I feel like, like if you can go through this thing, which is like scary, not for consumption, and walk out without causing a scene, I think they're gonna like trust you a little bit. And yeah. Okay, so I think that's probably all there is. Al, I think your first goal is you've already done that. That's a goal that's
I
already
need to
been completed.
update those.
I
didn't really do anything this week other than fuck a lot of shit up with the ship.
Yeah.
You drank.
Yeah. It's a little bit tough because right now the people with all this particular class of thing are Randy and Harry, and so it's tough to find spots to like slot you in.
We could have gone on a cool adventure if someone had blown up the ship.
I mean, I was excited about that because it actually solved. I can find a way to blend Al into this whole thing. I mean, he's got psychic skills. He can probably do something useful. And I could do this other thing, get through it and get out. Part of the reason it was good that we waited 3 weeks, I had no idea what to do in this thing for 2 of those 3 weeks. So, yeah. All right. So in any case, next week we'll be back. And...
I actually can't this week. I just remembered.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
but we can do Saturday.
I'm not going to be here next week either.
Okay, so Saturday and Sunday right now are totally. Like we go to open houses on one of those days, and then our real schedule showings on the other one because we're on a pretty tight time schedule. So
Oh wait, no, I would be able to play
Fridays.
next Thursday. Sorry, that's my bad. I
okay.
was thinking of Friday.
I think with one down, we can go with one down. That's fine. Um, and we'll go again. We'll go next Thursday. And then I want to try to get back in the habit of doing for realsies. Yeah. So I'll see everybody, but Paul on next Thursday. We're gonna use Discord again now that everybody has it. If you have midweek questions of some sort, feel free to put something in the chat. There's one that's just for people in this game, and then there's also general chat, which has got other people in it from other games. So,
Has he
yeah.
been randomly cutting out for anybody else? Like,
Yeah.
Am I cutting out?
Yeah, you occasionally.
sometimes.
Yeah, you keep
Huh.
dropping off,
I don't know
but
what's going on. Like,
Discord does
my,
that.
yeah, it's weird.
that also
Um,
being said, I swapped out something for a new goal. If you want to randomly
Okay.
take a look.
Okay. Yeah,
Yay!
that's a goal. That's a goal that can happen. Yeah. So, I'll see y'all next week.
Good week.
I want to see that goal.
You want me to post it in chat?
No. I can read your goals. I want to see that happen with PowerPoint presentation.